So, are we saying anything yet, John? Are we live?
We're just preparing the stream. We're starting there. Sammy's up. Sammy's on the screen.
Sammy's on the screen. Okay. All right. So, where are people? Do people know where they are?
They're not yet. They're still over at Angela's.
Okay.
They'll
But
be with us shortly.
okay. So this is Ginger Cook, and if you're wondering who Sammy is, Sammy's our mascot. And John, just want to say hi to people that they've come in. We're trying to do an overlap of Angela's show, so if you've been hanging out waiting for us, we're here. How are we doing, John? Are we live?
We are live. We have 370, 80. We're at 87 people now.
Okay.
Well, they're getting here. People are showing up.
Okay, awesome. So we want to welcome everybody. So why don't we just switch back to me, and then we'll switch back to Sammy in a minute.
All
Let
right.
people let's just let people know they've hit the right channel, and since I'm not sure that there's going to be.
They don't know who Sam. Wait a minute. They don't know who Sammy is.
No, a lot of people don't. There's some new people.
Oh no. They have to know who
Thank
Sammy
everybody
is.
for joining us. This is it's a long day. Maybe some of you needed a fast bathroom break in between. Watching
we'll wait.
Cinnamons, and then
That's a good idea. Let's have a little bathroom break before we start.
Grab a snack out of the refrigerator because you're going, oh my gosh, this is longer than Gone with the Wind here. Remember those movies that had an intermission?
Yeah, those were great.
By. So anyway, if you're new to our channel, you've never seen this before, I'm an acrylic artist, and you just happen to catch on the link, our little train, our collaboration train. Cinnamon Cooney, the Art Sherpa, is my daughter. And we've been talking about doing this for some time. We thought this would be really fun. This is a 3-color challenge, all right? So what does that mean, a 3-color challenge? Well, normally when you put out a palette of paints, everyone says, will you please put out your colors? Now, I don't use a lot of colors on my palette in the first place. I really don't, because I mix everything. I mix all the greens. I show you how to do that. But I use a few more than... And white doesn't really count as a color, but we're going to talk about 3 colors that we're going to be using today. And we're going to be painting, and I'm going to hold it up here. I'm going to be painting this Monet. And now look at all the different blues and greens and turquoises and grays I have in this picture, even some oranges and so forth, and I'm only using 3 colors. Can you guess what they are? I've told some of you, so that doesn't really count, but some of you, if you didn't know,
no
just try
cheating.
to think about it, what might they be? Well, this, I think, limiting your palette and then really seeing the lights and darks and the gray tones makes a big difference, because sometimes people use color instead of value, and I'm not talking about how expensive the paint is. Value is this, what is a value? Well, a value is whether something is lighter or darker than something else. So if you have a black and white photograph, for instance, and there was no contrast, then you just have kind of a black picture. Or if it was too white, then that's all you'd have. But paintings are stories. Paintings, even abstracts, are stories. They're stories. And basically, like any good story, you have a main character. And that, in what we call in art, is your center of interest, all right? So if you have, for instance, if you have like a flower here and a flower here and a flower here and a flower here and a flower there, what you have is wallpaper. Which is fine. That's a legitimate art, painting for wallpaper. And then you just repeat the pattern. So, but when you're talking about a painting, doesn't matter how simple it is. There's a center of interest. Maybe it's just a vase of flowers, and that's what most people. Or portrait. That the person then would be the center of interest. And so if you get too many lights and darks in different places, then people are confused what you're talking about. It's like being an author, being your own editor, like your own Reader's Digest editor. Remember that, where they just kind of got down to the nitty gritty? So that's what we're going to do. A 3-color challenge is like getting us down to the nitty gritty of color mixing. And I think the benefit from this is huge. So I think you really had fun with Cinnamon. You saw her, whole line paints, and we're going to be using a combination of heavy body acrylic paints, pretty much probably Liquitex, Cad Red Medium. We're going to be using Cad Yellow Medium, from Matisse, and a Phthalo Blue from Matisse and White. Now, Phthalo Blue, if you happen to be using Liquitex, I wanted to say this, very important, is that Liquitex comes now in 2 shades of Phthalo Blue. They have a red shade and a green shade. you would be wanting to use the green shade. Okay, so John, if you would be so kind as to focus the camera down here. But before we do that, I want to say hi to our mascot, Sammy. Again, if you're new, he's our channel mascot. You'll notice he's getting kind of decked up. He's got some Christmas items on, some spatter paint. But boy, he's got his message here saying, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, just a general reminder to do that. And if you push the little,
watermark,
the little watermark, that will subscribe you immediately. And we appreciate that. And also, there's a little bell there up there at the top of your channel. On the top of our homepage. And if you ring that little, not ring it, but you can kind of tag that bell. I guess you're ringing it. Doesn't make a sound. It should make a sound. Don't you think?
It should make a sound.
It should make a sound.
I'll talk to YouTube on that.
But anyway, we should write them. It should make a sound. But if you ring the bell, then what happens is that if you want to know when we're doing these live shows, because we normally don't do a Saturday live show. Our live shows are normally Monday night and Tuesday night when we do the live show on YouTube. So if you want to get advance notice or something like that, it'll anytime we're doing something live, it'll alert you. How's that? It'll alert you. Okay. So this is our 8x10 canvas. So do we have to say hi to everybody that's come? Do we have I think we have a few people that have shown up.
We have 305 have joined us.
Well, thank you very much.
Party.
This is an little 8x10 canvas. I've got here's my basically what I did was I went ahead and prepped this canvas
because it's been a long day for you guys.
Why is it still wet?
Well, you really wetting the canvas to stretch it.
I had water on this. Was there water somewhere?
Just on the back of your canvas.
I know it was from, because I sprayed the back of this and it dripped on that. That was dumb. Well, all right. So poo.
So much for saving that time.
Well, it didn't really save any time, but I am going to show you how we're going to mix that color. So let's put our colors out real quick, because we want to mix a gray. Now you're going, how are we going to do that? You have yellow, and you have blue and red. So how am I going to get a gray? Because you're not using black here, all right? And one of the reasons I don't use black, and I'm not a big fan of black, is I personally feel that black has a way of kind of killing colors. It really takes the life out of them. It really does. And sometimes someone will, say, well, I don't use black, but what they'll do is they'll use some charcoal to, maybe draw something on a canvas, and then they'll paint over it. And trust me, that charcoal stick is black. It doesn't matter what you are, dark chalk. That's dark, okay? So now we're going to put our phthalo blue over here. You'll notice that I'm doing a few piles because we're going to be mixing a lot of different colors. And so I need some different piles of this paint because, we've got like a teal here. We've got sort of a light blue here. We've got some grays down here. We've got some interesting greens. We've got some stuff, you guys. So we're going to do that. Anyway, when Monet this is originally done by Monet. I think it's a place in Holland. It's a river in Holland. Houses on the River was the title of it. To get this color, what I'm going to show you is I'll take a little palette knife here, and I want to use a different palette because I need a little room here for all our colors. So I would start with, I want a gray, and you want to look at your color wheel. Now we're going to go through some real interesting things here. Here's a color wheel, but on each color wheel you have what we call a grayscale. So would you say that this color is closer to this side of the dark grays or this side? Well, really, it's almost in between these two, isn't it? So you could start either with black, black or rather blue or white, but we're going to start with some blue. So here's some phthalo blue. I'm going to put it over here, and I'm going to grab some of this white. I'm going to put that here like that, and I'm going to mix that together. Now we are far cry friends from this color, aren't we? So how do you get that color? Well, we're going to use Cad Red Medium. Cad Red Medium is sort of an orange red, all right? So when I mix it into the blue, this is our Liquitex Cad Red Medium. When I mix that into the blue, now look what happens. It starts to gray the blue. Do you see that? See how it starts to gray this blue? And then all I have to do is add a little bit more white to this. And this palette knife is a little small. Let's get a bigger one. Here. So I can show you better. Just move everything out of the way. So now I'm going to start here. Now most people just want to go into the center of this. When you mix cookies, you got to go into the center of things. But we're not going to do that. We're going to put it right like this on the edge. All right. You're going to sit and then pull and squish. Okay. Now All right, there's my gray color. Look at that. Look at that. That's the gray color. So that's how we're making this gray color. And I think I will just take it and stack some of that color up over here. But here's it. And I want to show you just briefly using this canvas, which we don't have any paint on. I'm going to take a brush kind of like this. This is a number 10 bright brush. This happens to be a silver Bristol-on brush, which I particularly like. I'm going to wet my brush, wipe it off on a towel. Then I want you to do is come down like this. Start a weave going. Down and across, down and across, down and across, and just weave the color on. Don't start here and then jump down here and then jump over here and jump over here. Be kind of deliberate in the direction that you're going. Okay? Make sure you have enough paint on your canvas. You can put water just on the tips. We're not using water. Even though this is a water-based medium, we're using it like the way you would oil paint. So you don't want to, if you get too much water on the brush, it's not going to cover well. All right? So basically you're going to cover the whole canvas like that, and you're going to end up with this. Okay? And then what has to happen is you have to really dry this well. All right? That's key. And I hope, my plan was to have this already dry for you, but here's the deal. One of the things you've got to do when you're buying little canvases like this is you hear this nice drum sound when I kind of flick my finger on it. Hear that? Well, that's because I sprayed the back of this canvas and got it tight. You want it tight. It really makes it easier to paint on if your canvas isn't loose. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to dry this for just a second. Now John's going to do his very best he can to turn down the sound. You're still going to hear some hairdryer. We won't be able to turn this off completely, but we will turn it down a little bit. But we want to start with a nice dry canvas, okay? So any questions before I dry?
Nope, go ahead.
All right.
Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us this afternoon. It's been a long day for you, starting off with the Art Sherpa, Cinnamon. I see Cinnamon's in the house. Welcome, Cinnamon. Glad to have you here. That was an awesome wave. I like the second one better than the first one. Ginger does that too. A lot of times the second one, as they're working out the design and everything, they do one, and then the second one always comes out better. A lot of bright colors in that. And Angela's rooster, that reminds me of the roosters I had back in Michigan. We had one of those kind of guys. And it was a fun little bird. The females put out very small little eggs. We were talking about roosters while you were gone. Cinnamon's in the house. You might want to say hello to Cinnamon.
Shout out to Cinnamon. Hi Cinnamon.
And say happy birthday to Sue Clark.
It. And if Angela's on, we want to say hi to her. Kind of thank you guys for playing with all of us today. This was fun. All right, so here's my picture. All right.
I have a picture in the picture, so
You do. So
I do.
I don't need to do that. Oh,
you do not need to do that.
Good job. So
I am on the ball today.
I'm going to take a little charcoal pencil. These are called Conte white Conte pencils. We don't have any sponsors. I just buy stuff I like and tell you about it. What I like about this is I like how they draw on the canvas. What I don't like is they're really hard to sharpen. They don't fit in any normal pencil sharpener I have found. But other than that, I kind of like them. It's just like, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how did you like the play?
Oh, it was a great play.
It was a great play, right? Just, what we want to do is kind of figure out how far we're going to come down with we're doing an 8x10 canvas. We're starting with the ruler, and I want to come down about 3.5 inches, I think, for my horizon line. So I'm just going to use the pencil for that, because we're going to put in our sky first. Here's a 3.5 inches here, and a bit over here like that. About 3.5, and I'm just going to, I don't need to do too much, just doesn't even have to be too perfect. Very gently, just sort of, all right, everything above here is sky, and everything below here is water. Does that make sort of sense to you guys? So we're going to start with the sky first, and I'm going to start with a smaller, well, maybe we can still use that bigger brush. Let's see. All right, let's just do it.
You had to write sky on it so you didn't get confused?
Well, it's two things now, so maybe somebody needs to know whether it's a sky or not. So, what's she doing, Harry? I don't get it. What's she doing? What are we doing now? Okay, we're doing the sky. So we've only got these colors. How are we going to do the sky? Well, one of the things we know is that we knew a kind of a light area in through here like this, kind of like an angel wing. Does it look like a wing? Ooh, all right. is kind of a light blue color. So let's take a clean brush. I'm not going to use the one. Here's a little number 8 silver Bristol on brush, a bright brush, and I like these. They're made by Ruby Satin Silver. I like these because they have a nice spring to them. Cinnamon found these. Cinnamon's got a whole new line of brushes coming out, and you know, she's featured some of these along with the Ruby Satin Silvers. They're marvelous brushes, and these have been, the Bristol have been out for a while, but I just never had found them. I've always used the Ruby Satin Silvers, which I love still. I just what I like about these is they come to a very chiseled edge and they keep it. All right, so I can't use that color, okay, because that's not this bright kind of turquoisey color. So we're going to start with white now, and I'm going to go over here with white.
Now we have. If I could just interrupt you for a second before you get too far.
Yeah.
Just refresh us on how you made that background. We have some people just joined us.
So if you just joined us, we're doing this 3-color challenge, right? This is sort of a collab with Cinnamon Cooney. She started off with the Marvelous Wave, and then we had this really adorable rooster from Angela Anderson, and then everybody's kind of joined me here, and we made this gray color, even though we're only using 3 colors, and we're not using black. We use Cad Red Medium, Phthalo Blue, and white, and we got that gray color.
And the Phthalo Blue was the green shade?
The Phthalo Blue would be the green shade. Most everybody on the planet except Liquitex just says Phthalo Blue, but Liquitex wants to confuse everybody. When I first started with Liquitex, it just said Phthalo Blue. And if you don't believe me, I'm such a hoarder. Let me show you. Here's an original tube of Phthalo Blue from Liquitex, and there was none of this red shade business, okay?
That's a collector's item.
That's a collector's item right there. I hate to open it even because, you know, that's so old. So I'm just saying that that's what it used to be, and then suddenly they started changing it, and then they did ultramarine blue, green shade, and red shade, and it confused people, okay? But that's all right.
So you made your background with just what now?
So the major background was just Cad Red Medium, a Phthalo Blue, and white.
Wow.
That's how we got that gray, all right? So now we want just Phthalo Blue and white, okay? Now look, see how much brighter that is, okay? And we're going to put like 1% yellow in it. Just warm that up a bit. And maybe, let's take a tiny bit of that gray, just like less than 1%, and add to that, tone that down just a bit. And add a little more white. Now we're playing here, kind of like cooking. Here we go. Now there's our pretty bright blue. Isn't that nice? So now we're going to come through here like this and say, here's our bright blue color. I'm going to gray that down just a hair, just a touch. That's a little bright for me. And again, it just depends on the camera. Just put a little bit more of that background color in it. Just tone that down just a hair. And I'm going to come through here like this and say, here's my lighter blue sky, okay? Now what about the rest of it? Well, we're going to go back into this gray color and add a bit of yellow and a bit of white, and we're going to make a gray, kind of some gray clouds, maybe a little more Cad Red Medium. Okay, so we've got this light gray color now. Let's see, a little bit more Cad Red Medium. That's going to turn that gray, okay? And let's see, let's do a little bit darker here. Let's add some of our background color to that, okay? So there's my kind of gray color here, like that. And if I add some more Cad Red, it'll turn less blue. It'll turn more gray. If I add more Cad Red Medium, it will go grayer and less blue, which is what I'm going for here. Now, since I've used the brush as a kind of a tool, you know, to mix with, now I'm going to come up here like this. See what happened? And I'm just going to, using just the flat of the brush here, this is our next layer, and then just kind of use the side of it here and melt these 2 colors, these clouds in here. These are very, very simple clouds. We're not getting too clever here. We're just saying that there's this lighter gray color like that on the clouds, and we'll come underneath that blue and all the way down to a horizon line. I want to keep it kind of simple. There's the there's our gray again over here on this side. A little bit more Cad Red Medium. If you add more Cad Red Medium, what it does is it really grays it. So here we go. So here's some clouds in here like this. And we're going to come down here like this, all the way down to a little more Cad Red Medium and a little bit more white. I'm going to lighten it up here. Now, just using the side of my brush, we're just going to do just some kind of cloud layers coming down here like this. Maybe some of these in here like that, little side of the brush. The movement is kind of sideways in little circles. We're going to say, here's our sky, and that's really all there is to the sky. Okay? Cool, right? I mean, there really is not a lot to that sky at all. Okay, and if you've lost too much of this, like if you lost too much of that pretty bright blue area, just put it back a little bit. Take a little bit of white and phthalo blue. It's easy enough to put back. If you've lost too much of it, you can add a little bit back here if you feel like you need a little bit brighter day that I gave you. Okay, there you go. So that's the bright day part. Let's put a little more white with that. Okay, and remember, acrylics dry slightly darker, so you may think you're just nifty keen on doing this, and you look and they've dried darker. So now what we're going to say is we know that there's water underneath here, so let's start doing some water coming this way, and start doing some just brush strokes back and forth like this, and we're going to start adding some layers to our water, and we're not covering up all the background. In fact, we're going to leave some of it, and we're going to start layering on colors. If I add a little more phthalo blue and a little more cad red, now here's a little bit of a darker gray color that we can say that's in here somewhere, like that. And we're just, again, starting to overlap our colors like that. And there will be so much of this, this whole section here will be our green reflection, so I'm not too worried about that. So I'm really just kind of getting the area by our where our boat's going to be. Okay, so I've got the phthalo blue and white, tiny bit of yellow, just the teeniest bit to warm that up, and here's a few little bits of brighter kind of blue-green color in here like that into the water. And you know, this is just, if you get a blue going and you don't, you know, just move it around. Okay, so that's pretty easy, right? I mean, none of this was too hard. I haven't scared anybody yet. Well, you know, we do a lot of, we have a really nice playlist on YouTube. It's our, you know, how to paint water. I'm washing my brush while I'm doing this. We do have a very nice playlist on how to do that. And, you know, we're happy to, you know, have you look at that sometime. And if you like painting water and things, we've got some nice oceans and stuff. And then we have a Wave and Water Masterclass on gingercooklive.gallery. It's our Academy of Fine Art, where we really get down to the nitty-gritty over the internet and teach you acrylic painting. And what's unique about that, here's just a little bit lighter blue back here in the background. Just put some here like that. What's unique about that is that we offer personal art coaching. You can send me your artwork, I send it back. It is cool. If you haven't done that, that is really, I'll tell you, talk about being on the fast track to learning to paint. Okay, now I'm going to just take a second here and dry everything, all right? That's my thing.
That's your thing?
Yeah, I have to dry. If you don't dry, think of dry as save as, all right? Save as, okay? So when you dry, that's what you do. And you hold, someone asked me the other day, well, about hair dryers. You hold your hair dryer pretty close, use hot air, and then at the very end, hit it with a blast of cold air. The reason you do the cold air is that if it's still tacky after you've hit it with cold air, you know it's not dry. Oh, good to know, right?
Yeah.
All right, so how's our live stream going? Are we hanging in there, John?
We've had 0 hiccups. It was great. 356 currently watching.
Well, we'd appreciate a thumbs up anytime anybody feels like doing it. As long as you're 365 friends here on the air, we appreciate it. We're going to start here with the hair dryer. Incidentally, if you like my Starry Night hair dryer, I even have a video on YouTube on how to do this. I ended up with paint all over the hair dryer anyway, so I figured you might as well, right?
No different than your hands, right?
Yeah. Well, look. Yeah,
already.
No difference.
Before you even started.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. I turned you down. You're fine. All right, as she dries that, we'll just wait a brief moment or two. She'll have that done in no time. Really appreciate everybody hanging in there. You guys have had a long day of painting. And it looks like some of you, I'm reading the comments as they go flying by, have got several of your paintings are up and posted around the internet already. I think that's fantastic. As Ginger mentioned, we do have a website, gingercooklive.gallery, and we've also opened up a auction site, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. It's gingercooklive.gallery/auction. It sounds like it's going into cool mode now, so we'll bring her back up here. There she is. I can tell what she's doing.
Okay, so again, to reiterate what we're doing today, in case you just joined us, we're doing this Monet's, it was called Houses on the River. Okay, I think it's in Holland.
You had a fancier name than that, though, right?
There was a fancier name. This is English translation generally, because couldn't pronounce the name of the river, so everybody in Europe's going, oh, what is wrong with those people? Can't they just, is English the only language they really know? Yep, pretty much.
Yeah.
So,
and we struggle
so
with that. Are you kidding?
Yeah. Though I had I was thinking about that today, John, and I thought about the word regatta.
A regatta.
A regatta, which is, it's got to be Italian, right?
It's got to be.
Doesn't
It sounds like it.
Sounds like Italian.
Anybody know what regatta came from?
Yeah, but I love the idea. It does not sound like a party. We're having a regatta.
Let's have a regatta.
I mean, this is not a regatta. We got just one boat. Regatta means you got more boats. We got no regatta going on here, you guys. So we got Ricardo Regatta.
Off and running.
Off and running.
Hey, somebody's asking a little bit more about the Wave and Water Masterclass. How many paintings are currently in there, and how much does it cost, and etc.?
Oh, well, John, maybe you'd like to answer that. If you want to see what the actual paintings are, I've got a great display of those on Pinterest. If you go to Pinterest, Ginger Cook Live, all one word on Pinterest, because apparently I got late to Pinterest. But the time I wanted to put Ginger Cook down, that was long gone. That ship had sailed, literally, no pun intended. So it's Ginger Cook Live, all one word on Pinterest, and at the very top of the boards, you have all those boards. It's all about art, that site. And the top, you'll see something about the Wave and Water Masterclass, and you can see the paintings that are currently in it. We add new ones one new one every month, and some of them are fairly simple, and some are very, very long and elaborate and take a long time to do. So John can give you more information. I want to just say we're using Cad Red Medium for our 3-color challenge, Phthalo Blue, Cad Yellow Medium, and White. And so far, and we're going to be getting all these great colors. Isn't that just neat? So just wanted to reiterate that, as opposed to, for instance, like here's a painting that, the other thing is if you have a regular video lesson library on gingercooklive.gallery, our Academy of Fine Art, where we offer every week, our members get exclusive videos, okay? And this is a wonderful video with the window and these lilacs and so forth and lemons. Now, if we could not use these colors here and get those purples, okay? So it's important to understand when you're doing a 3-color challenge, what's in the range of the colors you've picked, okay? Because pretty much you couldn't do that, all right? But, and even still, could we do this one? This is going to be Tuesday's lesson on YouTube, on Tuesday Night Live. This one's going to be Tuesday night. Again, we've got enough purple in here where we really couldn't do this 3-color challenge. So what's the bottom line? You really ought to own Dazzling Purple. Just saying, just saying, right?
There's certain colors you do want to have.
Sometimes you just have to have it. I picked this Monet because I thought there was a lot of colors in here that we could keep playing with. And even here, there's a little feel of purple in here. Is there a little bit of feel of purple behind those hills? All right, so we're going to start drawing in a little bit. We're going to draw in what we've got going here. So I'm going to just say that up here like this, coming down here like that, I've got some trees. And then I've got sort of a bank that's coming like this. It's something like this, like a little wedge. All right? And over here, our houses are on the riverbank. They're at a slight angle, but not that much of an angle. So let me just get my ruler out and I'll measure for you, because even I can't remember how far over I went here with this tree. I think I went like about 4.5 inches over is where I started this tree, okay? And how far over did I go here? Let's just measure that. I went about 4. So let's see, how close did I get here? 4 here. I'm a little long here. So about 4 inches on this side, and I think I had about an inch from there, about 1.5 inches in between. Yeah, so the tree's got to be about here. So I'm going to come up here like this. Say I've got a tree, like that, just some sort of tree, okay? And then this whole thing's gonna slope down a little bit like that from the tree. Here's our horizon line. It's gonna slope a little bit like that. And first thing I'm gonna do, I know this is kind of weird, this is a weird way to do it, but the first thing I wanna do is just put in the tree, okay? I'm gonna put in my trees. So I'm gonna start with, I need a dark green color. So I'm gonna start with phthalo blue.
Oh, I have a question from Paula. She's asking, I only have ultramarine blue and cerulean.
Can't do it, sorry. Well, sorry, you just have to use more colors then. You can't do it. I don't know what to say. Phthalo blue is a #1 color you've got to have in your paint set. If you don't have phthalo blue, you really can't do most of the videos.
Yeah.
That's a color that we use over and over again. It's the number one thing. So just have that. So all right. So we're going to take. Though I have to say, in his original painting, now to be fair, Monet didn't have phthalo blue either. He had ultramarine blue for the sky and the water, and then he probably used phthalo green for the house. So
Probably,
yeah. So if you weren't trying to do the 3-color challenge, yes, you could make the painting. How's that?
Hey, we'd like to give a shout out to Marcy for the donation. We greatly appreciate that.
Oh, thanks, Marcy. Okay, so I've got blue and yellow to make a dark green, and it's mostly going to be blue, okay? And I'm going to take a tiny bit of cad red medium and darken it even more. See that? So here's my green color, and it's going to be about 90% phthalo blue, and then about 10% the yellow, and then I'm going to do 2%, which is over 110%. And we understand it's over that. 4 out of 5 people, 5 out of 4 people don't do fractions well. But anyway, we're doing this, and we're coming up here with our dark blue. It's not quite dark enough, so add a little more blue. We're going to say, and make sure that you've got, I'm using a little angle brush here, make sure that you've got this color really nice and dark, like this. Okay, so here's our bush, and then I want to come down, straight down from here, kind of below the horizon here, and I'm going to add that into my water here. I'm going to just add some of this dark blue down here like that. So you're going, wow, that's weird. And then I'm going to take that same color, and I'm going to come over here like this, and I'm going to suggest that there's some people living across the river, pretty far away because this is small. I'm just going to stop here, and then we're going to pull some green down this way and suggest that this whole bank is reflecting in our water over here like that. So and then he had in his picture, it kind of went behind the boat, but we can do that later. Okay, so this is what we've got here, and you want to keep these going back and forth. Something interesting about Monet, he did hundreds and hundreds of paintings, and but toward the end of his life, he was really going blind. And, we don't appreciate, sometimes, you look about what we have in today's technology. I mean, just think about, just recently, this year, I had, lenses replaced, for cataract surgery. And I had my lenses in my eyes replaced. That is such a huge thing to be able to do. I mean, he didn't have that advantage. And, I just think it's so interesting, the technology and how far we've come with it. Okay, so we've got a little bit of something coming this way. Not too far. I don't want to cross it over here like that. Okay, so here's our tree. Okay, now, what can we do here? Not much. What could we do? We could take a little smaller brush. Here's a little small angle brush here. And if I took some yellow, okay, because this is a dark, just pure yellow, and came on here like this, as I mixed it, I could mix sort of a green. But the problem is, the more I went over, it would disappear into my dark. So that's not effective. So what we need to do is dry everything again, okay?
That's all you've been doing today.
I know, that's what you have to do. And if you don't, this is why people end up with paintings that are kind of a hot mess, is they don't dry enough. And then they mix all the colors together, and you see what happens when you mix all the colors together, you get gray, right? So you get sort of this, and it's
nice
fine
blue-gray.
if you intend it, but if you didn't intend it, it's pretty discouraging. But this is an easy fix. We just dry it, okay?
Not a problem.
All right.
I'm muting you. Okay, while she's in semi-silent mode, because we are physically in the same room, approximately 10, 15 feet apart, and my microphone picks up apparently everything. If you go visit gingercooklive.gallery, you can certainly learn more about our different offerings under the Join Us menu selection. Just make a selection there, and it'll show you the different options we've got. And she's back.
All right, so we're going to take a little, we've got, this is dry here, all right? So we're going to start here and say that I know that I've got a little house here. I think I can't, that's not going to show up. I'm going to just draw it with this little pastel right about here. I'm going to make a little A-frame and a little straight down line here like this. Then we're going to kind of come back this way with a roof like that. This is very small, it's about 1/2 inch, Here's a little house, okay? let's see, how far over, we're going to come down. We've got another house above that, another roof above that, and then we've got one lower. So let's make sure I'm over far enough. Let me just see where I am here with these little houses. Because I might start with this one on the end here. Because let's see, let's just erase this for a second and start. I know I can always come over here into the tree. So let's start with this middle one. That's the top one. Here's a little house like that. This is a Monopoly house with long, it's long, okay? And then here's a roof here on this one, so it's a little lower, okay? And then lower here still, yeah, I was right, pretty much. All right, we've got another little house right here. So these, what do I mean by Monopoly houses? Well, out comes the chalkboard. Did you guys ever play Monopoly? You know,
Well, sure. Didn't
yeah,
everybody
okay,
ever play
so
Monopoly?
here's how you draw a house. Start with the letter A.
A,
And then start with up two ones, okay?
2 ones.
And then I'm going to say that this is how long I want my house. Let's say we're going this way, right? All right. Now, where people screw up on their houses, and this, I don't know why, I don't know how else to explain this, but they don't understand that this line right here has a twin, and that's this line. So this line and this line, those two angles have to be parallel. Okay? And then this line is going to be slightly shorter, and then here's another line. Now, it doesn't matter if your house is going down here like this. And then, in the case of these European houses, what made it a little differently is that, which got a little confusing, is they had this sort of weird, it almost leans back like this. So this one is kind of parallel, but this one's leaning back a bit more. And here's the roof. And then we come up again here with another one like this, and then here's our roof here, and then we're going to have a tree, and then we've got another house where you don't see the ends of it at all, and here's the edge of the picture. Okay, so all you're really going to see is you know, these two houses, and then there's going to be like a little, I don't know what this was, like a boat ramp or something down to here, and then you've got your tree back in here like that. See, pretty simple, right? And, you know, if your house looks a little different, you know, architecture changes over the years, it's probably okay, right? Just cut yourself a break. But we do want to make sure we have enough tree above our houses. And I think what I don't have is I didn't get high enough with my tree. So I think that's part of where my problem was when I started this. I didn't start my tree up high enough, which is why we use chalk, you guys, so that I can then go ahead and, you know, make this house a little taller like that. Okay, and then that means this house is a little taller. So all just goes up, and this is why chalk is so handy. And of course, if you were really, you know, wanted to be diligent, I suppose what you could do is just draw it on a piece of paper and trace it back on. But you really don't need a traceable for this. But this will be on Pinterest. This picture will be on Pinterest. So if you want to just blow it up and trace it, you can do that too, or just print it out. And you know how to print it out on Pinterest? You've got to save the image to a new tab, okay? Save the image to a new tab, and then you can print it, okay? On Pinterest, that's how you can do it, so you might want to do that. So let's come back with some darker green again here for our tree, because we're going to we got to come back up here, and we're going to say, here's our tree. It's going to come back up here like this. Got to make the tree bigger, okay? And I know as long as we're into this colors here, that's this tree here, and then we've got the roof, and then we've got this roof is up here. So let's see, where do we want to put that? So here's this is a dark blue roof, right, like that. Remember, we're going to put that roof in here, and then the front of it is going to come, we'll put a little tiny bit white with that to make it a little bit lighter in the front. So the front part of the A, not that light. Here's the front part of the A of this house, okay? And then we've got, which is overlapping this house. And then we've got this one, which is over here. Here's the roof on that. It's almost the, kind of the roof here. It's a little bit lower. Okay. All right, so we've got some roofs. I like that. Okay, and here's our tree. And, all right, so what I want to do here, while I'm waiting for the tree to dry, so we're going to rinse the brush. Now, when you're rinsing your brush, touch the bottom of your pot and then wipe it off so that you've got it. Now, this is the fun one. We're going to take some yellow, this is why we did a couple of places, and Cad Red medium, okay, and probably more cad red medium, and a tiny bit of the blue color, like less than 1%. Okay, and now I'm going to wipe the brush off, and I'm going to say that this is right here. Here is my rust brown roof for this particular house. I'm going to kind of shorten it up a bit. Didn't have it that much. Then I'm going to add some white to that. Okay, just a little bit of white, so that the front part of the A, that front part, is a little bit lighter than this back part of this roof. Okay, and as long as I'm doing that, I'm going to put some of that color down here like that, as long as we're doing that. Now, as long as we're into the browns, let's take a little bit more of that color here and a tiny bit more phthalo blue and make kind of a rusty brown color. Do you see that? Kind of a dark rusty brown color. Now, that was just cad red medium and phthalo blue, and look at this nice rust brown. Now I'm going to wipe it off, and I want to come over here. Imagine this is our kind of our water line here, so I'm going to just suggest a couple little houses back here like that. All right, and then I'm going to pull some reflections underneath there like that. Okay, so that's not a lot to that. Let's put a little white with that color, make a little bit lighter orange color. Okay, and I'm going to say here's the roof up here like that. Just touch that, and here's our reflection. So there's not a lot going on here. You know, you could say there's another house over here like that, and could put a few dots. But this is our. All we're saying is that over here, somebody lives across the bank. Fair? All right. So now I want to make sure that I have the top of this roof is level. Okay, that's got to be parallel to the top and bottom of the canvas. Now I'm going to add some white paint to this color. Okay. So now I've got this sort of skin tone, don't I? Right, like that. So we're going to say that this house is that color. Now it's the same color as this, but with white in it. And we're going to just say here's our house right here. Now I'm going to wipe the brush off, add a little more white paint, and say that the front of it is lighter. Okay. And we're just going to paint this in very, very.
Looks like a salmon color.
It's like salmon color, but it's very, you know, but it's just. I mean, you think about the colors that we're getting. Now, what do we want to do with this? Is we want to come straight down here like this, and wiggle this color all the way down to the bottom, kind of using that sort of back and forth. I'm going to wiggle this color all the way down to the bottom like this. You see, that's reflecting from this house like that. Okay. Okay. So that's reflecting in the water. Okay.
Let's give a shout out to Marilyn for the donation. Thank you very much.
Oh gosh, Marilyn, that was so kind. We appreciate it very much. I hope you guys are having fun with this sort of our marathon week here with our colors. All right, I'm going to bring my roof over a little bit closer to this house now. Okay, with my orange roof, maybe brighten it up just a hair because it got a little dull on me. Okay. All right, so this is what I got so far. Maybe a little more of that orange in here like that. Do I need any more here? Maybe I want to make this house a little bigger here. Let's just make that one bigger.
Frisky
Okay.
Christie is asking, what are the best colors to add to cad red light and cad yellow light to darken them to the mediums?
Well, you're talking about the three colors that we're doing now. Is she trying to use light colors? I mean, you could, burnt sienna will darken cad yellow light, but I mean, yellow is a primary color. You can't fool with it, you guys. Cad yellow light. You cannot get cad yellow light by adding white to cad yellow medium. Yellow is a primary color. You can't make them. Hate to tell you that, but it's the way it is.
Oh,
Just so discouraging, I know. Okay,
That
so
is.
now we're going to take, speaking of white, we're going to put a little more white to this and add a touch of blue and more white, and we're going to make this off-white gray color. Do you see how I made that? It's just blue. It's the same color as this, but with more white and blue in it. We're going to come under here like this. This is not a white house. I know that it looks like it's a white house, but it isn't. It's kind of a gray house. All right, so then I like that, and I'm going to come under here like this with my little angle brush here. This is going to point down a little bit. Come around here with the white, that's kind of off-white color. Come like that. All right, so as long as we're doing that, there's some white up here in our houses, okay? And now, I think we can get away with making this pretty teal color, okay? This little teal color right here, isn't that great? So how are we going to make that? So let's take some white, tiny bit of yellow, and phthalo blue.
How many cookies are you classifying this lesson?
2.
2 cookie.
Okay, so see, now do you see this sort of mint green I've got? It really is a mint green. It's yellow, white, and I can add, if I want it darker, I'll add a little more blue. That's too much. A little bit of yellow. Now I've got it too dark here, so now I've got to add more white. Okay. Now now if that's too green, I will add a tiny bit of, like less than 1% of red in it, cad red medium, and gray it out. See that? Just if you're not sure about mixing paint, hop on down to Lowe's or Home Depot, your Happy Hardware store, and hang around people that are getting colors and look at the colors they want their paint, and look at how little, big gallon of paint, look how little bit of color changes the whole little pot of gallon paint. It takes very little, just a very, very little. All right, so see here, here's our, isn't that great color? Look at that. Isn't that just beautiful? Just an awesome color, isn't it? Now, we're going to say that that's that color here. And I didn't get it quite too straight, but that's all right. I'm going to wipe most of it off. Then I'm going to come straight down here with this. And we're going to say that there's our green color coming down here like this. A little bit brighter here like that. Now, I'm going to put some white to that, lighten it up one more shade. And here's the front of the house, which is a slightly lighter. Not trying to be nitpicky here, but just slightly lighter than the side of the house, okay? And I'm not being all that careful, but you could be more careful than me, but you get the idea, right? Okay, and the same thing here. Let's pull some of this color down here like this, and let's just bring it all the way down here. This is our reflections coming down, okay? Well, this doesn't seem too hard, does it? Now I sort of need to add more tree. I got kind of crowded out my tree. So here's the thing. When you have white or a light color on your brush, you can now not go back into a dark color, because once you put white in, it's never going to go dark again. Everything looks a little tippy to me. It's like I've been drinking today, but honestly I haven't, but it's all right. Just hang in there with me. All right, so we're going to do a dark green again for the tree. And we're going to just kind of clean this mess up here. Here we go. Let's just straighten up our house here. Okay, and now I want to come out here a little bit with my tree. I wanted to come out a little further than I had it. And then I want to come right next to my house with the dark green. You see how I can straighten up a line? And I've got a little bit of dark right under here. It's like a little boathouse. It's just almost pure blue. Got a little dark spot right here in the front. Okay. And I've got a dark green tree right here. Now, this is still light, so that when I put a little more yellow with it, so that when I go over it with the darker green color, it's going to mix with that light mint color and change it. See? So on this part of the house, right next to here, I have, let's put a little more blue. I have this green bush that's growing on the boathouse, and then then we'll come down here, straight down here like this with the green, and say that that's a reflection for this, right? Cool, right? So far, so good?
So far, so good.
Yeah, all right, so as long as we were doing that, let's come back up here with this dark green and create another little bush here above the roof of this house, and this one. We're kind of blotting out house now. Isn't that fun?
Hey, Mary would like to know what's the most mistakes a new artist makes while painting water.
The biggest one is that they don't keep the water level.
Yeah.
They start tilting it, or the horizon line isn't level. That's the biggest thing, is they start to go up or down with the water. I would say that's the biggest one, right? And
Where it's pouring off the
yeah,
canvas.
brush direction. If you think about it, there was this kid who grew up on a Navajo reservation back in the 20s. And he was Navajo reservation.
I thought it was Navajo, but hey, it could be Navajo. You never know. On the Navajo reservation.
Oh my. Okay, so anyway, he grew up on there, and he was handy. He was apparently very physically challenged, had some sort of handicap that caused the other children to be extraordinarily mean to him. And now we're going to go a little bit of yellow and white on this. See, a little bit of yellow and white right over this, and we're going to say that here's some of the light color on top of our tree like this, with some of the dark showing through. Anyway, they were really mean to him, but what he was excelled at was being an artist. And I'm going to add a tiny bit of red to this light green, so it's not like the red will tone down the green just a bit. Okay, so it's not it's bright, it's light, but it's not. I'll add a little white to it, but it's not so in your face. So anyway, here's our light green here, just coming over the house like this, and then we're going to say that there's our green reflections coming down this way like that. Okay. Ooh, isn't that pretty? I like that. You guys like that? Now let's take that same green, add a little more cad red medium to it, more yellow. Okay, we're just making an army green, a very light olive green is what we're going for here. Okay. Now tap off the excess paint. We're going to come under here like this, and we're going to
now,
allow...
when you say you're tapping off, you're just touching it on a paper towel?
Touching it on a paper towel, yeah. Touching on a paper towel. Now, I want some of the dark to show through, and all these lines are going down. This is some sort of weeping willow tree like this. So you want to skip a few spaces and come on out a little further. You want to say that there's our tree coming down like this in here, okay? Like that. And then what happens is you want to come sideways now. Now we're doing reflections. So now we're going to go sideways, and we're going to say that this tree is reflecting down here into our water like this. Okay? And let's take some of our dark green color and bring that into the water too, like this, sideways, like this, from the tree. Here's our dark green reflections. Everything's going back and forth, and you can leave some spaces so that some of your underpainting water shows through like that. All right, and I want to make sure I have it kind of a dark under there, and I want a little bit dark. I want it dark under my house here, kind of a little separation. In his original painting, he had a bunch of boats and stuff here, but that just got, this painting at 8 by 10 is way too small to be fooling around with boats, you guys. So we're going to say that this is some dark in here. I'll add a little bit more blue and cad red medium and darken this area up here like this.
Where did you say Monet did this? Holland?
I think this is Dutch. It's the Zanderdam River, wasn't it? The Zanderdam. Doesn't it sound Dutch to you?
Yeah, it sounds Dutch to me.
I don't know for sure. I'm guessing. All right, now I'm in the dark blue. This has had a chance to dry. I'm going to go ahead and add 2 little windows like this. Here, like that. 2 little windows, just using the side brush. Want to zoom in? Can you zoom in? Will that mess you up?
No, I can do anything I want. Hey, I want to thank Lucy for the donation.
Oh, thanks, Lucy. Okay, so I'm putting a bigger window in here like this.
Oh, so you're putting the windows. Here I go. I'm zooming down.
Zooming down, and then I'm going to say that in there, if you actually look at the original, he had a few more windows than I did, but, Well,
he probably had it was on a bigger canvas, too.
It was a bigger canvas. There's only so much you can do. There were no windows on this side, but there were 2 in the front, like eyes here.
Really, nothing on the side. Interesting.
Yeah, he didn't have any here, but there is sort of a dark line underneath this white, like that.
Kind of like a shadow.
Yeah, like a shadow here, like that. And
the shadow knows.
The shadow knows. Remember that show? The shadow knows. Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? But the shadow knows.
The shadow knows all.
Okay, so then I want a little bit more of this dark green coming out here, like this, on my weeping willow tree, and I'm going to put a little bit of it back out here now that I've had a chance to play with it. Okay, so that's kind of cool, right?
It's coming together nicely.
Yeah, so there's our little houses. This is not ideal. In an ideal world, the top of this one would be either level or going down some other direction. Then I'd just have it. I'm going to make that a little bigger. Okay, and then I've got here, I'm going to bring a little bit of this green out here in front of this window because I don't want to talk about it. I do not want to talk about this window. Now I'm going to take some green here, come this way, kind of this kind of olive green color, bringing this across like that, kind of swishing that down. Okay, so far so good. And now I'm going to go out a little bit lighter, more yellow. This is our next coat on this tree. Do you see that? We're just brightening this up just a hair in a couple places. Right? Still wet. And we're saying that just a couple places this tree is slightly brighter than we had it before. Because again, this that acrylic trick is to dry darker on you, mess up your little world. Okay. So, all right. So far, that's fun, isn't it?
It's looking great.
Looking great. Now what? Well, I remember what my sky color is. So here's my sky color, because I've saved a little bit of that paint out. And I'm going to come back along here like this, and I'm going to just give my tree a little haircut. See, like that? Okay, just, I wanted to just... a
little trim.
Little trim here like that. Just, just a little bit here, so that it's not just a blob, a round blob here. Cut there, better, see? And so, again, if you got too carried away with your design, it's easy enough to come back and just kind of fix stuff, right? I think a lot of times people think that once they've done it, that they're just stuck with whatever it is you did, and you're not stuck with anything. It's just acrylics, and you can always dry it and just paint it out too. I can't tell you how many paintings this was yesterday before it was this one. I think I finished that at 10 o'clock at last night.
Yeah, it was 10:30.
10:30 at night, okay? Yeah. So now I know that I want a little bit of that. Remember we had that gray-white color, which I've used up, so I'm going to come over here and make it again. Some sort of gray-white color. Like that. Here's like a little bit of a gray-white color. Let's put a little blue with that. There we go. Now, new place. There you go, gray-white color. Now I want to come down here like this and suggest that that's in here too. From this house, all right? See, just easy little stuff like that, okay? And we could, as long as we're doing the gray-white color, we can come along here like this and indicate, maybe some fun, just a couple dots here to indicate maybe there's some houses, and do some light kind of crossways of our reflections. Just, that's a little bright. Let's tone that down. This one here, do you see that little light? That's too bright. We're toning that down. That's got to go. But you want just few little lights over there to indicate, people are still playing. But that's all he had over there, so we're not going to get too carried away. Now, while all this is drying, because we don't have much more to go to finish this, all right?
Really?
No, I mean, I know that sounds a lot. We got to throw the boat in and a few of these little details on the houses. I guess we could put, as long as we were, being the last of the big spenders here, we could come down here and wiggle in, indicate these windows, kind of exaggerate these windows a bit. Like that, just make those darker. But make sure when you're putting cad red medium with your blue. It won't go, otherwise it won't look like a dark gray color. Here, let's darken that up.
Oh, Cindy Lou's asking about, is the puzzle auction this weekend?
Yeah, the puzzle auction. Oh, Cindy Lou, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because we have on our website, we have got now ready, look at this. This is our new auction on our website, an original works by Ginger Cook, and in this case, this week we are auctioning original puzzles. Now, this was done by a Canadian company. These puzzles were sold all over the world, even in England and France, and it was in 3 languages, and as well as Target and Walmart in the United States, and they're out of print now. So these were just some of the samples I had. These are the last of my samples, and these will be autographed and on the back and personalized to whoever gets them. And we've got how many different ones do we have, John?
I think there's 8 different styles.
There's 8 different styles, 1,000-piece puzzles. And there's a little story on the website. You want to read that about each puzzle. I wrote a little story about each puzzle. This is the Muse. This is where Cinnamon and I spent 2 months in France and painted. From this was a 28-room hotel. We were rented the whole place one winter for like $1,000, really. And what was cool about it is this is the door to get in, and these were the neighbors. And this is a little alleyway here, sort of dead-ended. And one of the fun stories about this is that we were using a printer, and American electricity and European electricity is different, so you have to have all these little devices to convert it. And our little, this was called, in French, it was called a fiche, and it blew up. It kind of exploded. We didn't burn the house or anything, but there was a fire coming out of the socket. It was something, right? And so then what we had to do was get another one, and we looked for days to find one, and we couldn't find anyone anywhere. So we had FedEx. We FedExed one to us from
Texas.
From Texas. And the first time the neighbors had ever seen a FedEx truck pull up in here, and he had a back. It was a trick. It was entertaining just watching him get out of there after he delivered it.
It was worth the cost.
Worth the cost. Just it was like window TV, watching people try to, because delivery trucks would pull in there and they couldn't get out. But anyway, so those are the styles. So and we're testing out before we start doing any more paintings. We're testing out this new software we bought.
We do have the inspiration. We have one in front.
Oh yeah, we have the inspiration clause. Okay.
Imagination cloth.
This is an imagination cloth, and if you see here the hand done label here, original Ginger Cook imagination cloth. Okay. And these are, if you see me just kind of, here's a brand new one where I'm kind of wiping the paint off. After I've washed these a few times and I finally think they have more paint than is helpful for me, then we wash them again, and we've done these, and we think we have like 8 maybe.
We have 6 currently. We're going to try to get to a couple more there.
We'll probably have 8. I ordered these labels in.
Now each of those are unique and
cloth
different.
will be autographed by me with a permanent marker and signed too. So anyway, those are the 2 things that will be on our auction site and on our puzzles as well. So if you guys want to go to gingercooklive.gallery and check that out, that would be fine.
Right now, to get to it, you have to do Ginger Cook Gallery /auction. I'll have it up on the menu hopefully after the show.
Okay, so right now it's /auction. Okay, so let's talk about how we're going to put this boat in. This boat really confused me for a while. Okay, but you and I, we can get this together. All right, no problem. Yes.
Because we have our magic board.
Because we have our magic board. So we're going to now delve into the mysteries of the boat. The bateau. That's boat, right in French. Le bateau.
And I know that. Why? I still struggle with English. Why are you giving me
French? I don't know
French?
that. Why? Maybe you guys don't know this. I went to boarding school in Switzerland and actually learned French, but I was just so resentful about being there that I really resisted learning anything. It was just one of those things where I was one of those real brat teenagers, I think. All right, so I'm going to just start with the mast. Okay, you like that? And that has to be kind of straight up and down. Okay, to the that's got to be parallel. To the perpendicular.
Yep, perpendicular.
To the sides of your canvas. That would be a good word for it. Now, what was interesting to me is that he had a thing going this way, and then this is a triangle, comes down like this, and then it slashes down at a pretty steep angle here, okay? And then there was like a little flaggy here, okay? So far so good.
Yeah.
Now, in the front, now you're going to skip a little space and do a little curved line here, and then you're going to suggest that this is doing this because the boat's looking at you, and this side's a little shorter. And then we're going to put some dark in here and not talk about it. Except, why does this look tippy to me? It doesn't look straight. Maybe.
Well, we have everybody's over on one side of the boat.
No, but I mean, does this mast not look straight?
No, it's tipping a little bit.
It's tipping. Well, don't make it. That's bad. Don't do that.
Well, we get the idea. You were talking right.
Yeah, you got to do. Don't have it tip. For heaven's sakes, no tipping. Because
unless they were tacking, maybe they were tacking going around a corner.
You can do tipping with the donations, but no tipping of the boat, please.
There you
all right?
go. Okay.
All right.
No tipping of the boat.
So how could you prevent that? Well, as I put chalk in my mouth, so you can't understand me. You could take, just saying, right? You could take a triangle. See that?
Or a T-square.
Or a T-square. Or a T-square. And we're saying, how many inches high is this boat? I made mine a little bigger than his. My proportion, right? The whole thing is like 2 inches tall, the mast, and it comes to starting about here. I'm going to just come up here. Here's my little chalk thingies here, like this. So I'm just going to start here and say, there's. I know now it's straight up and down, see? That's helpful, right? And
No tipping.
Yeah, that's straight up and down. And then I'm going to say that I'm going to come this way and then at an angle and then down this way. And then I'm going to just do this little V in front of it. How's that? It's almost like a V on its side, okay? So we don't have, this is small. If you make it small enough, then it doesn't have to be all that great because I'm not going to see it anyway. Now, as long as we're doing that with the tea stuff, let's come down here, do the same thing. Let's just bring that line down. And here's why. Let's just bring that line down. Barely touch it. Just bring that line straight down like that.
So that
that's where the sail. That's where your sail's going to be. So know that.
Your
okay.
sail or your shadow or your reflection?
Well, your shadow from your reflection. Your reflection from the sail. Okay. So all right. So that now you're going. Oh, so now again, this is not white. This is white with a tiny bit of yellow and a tiny bit of cad red. Okay. And a tiny bit of blue.
Basically, you used all your colors.
I used all my colors again, and then more white. So now I've got this sort of off-white sail. See that? It's sort of it's not quite. So now I want to just sit here like this, and so you'd think it was white, but it isn't.
It's an off-white. It's eggshell white.
It's an eggshell color. That's a good thing, eggshell. When I was a kid, we used to go to a restaurant in Seattle. If anybody remembers this from Seattle, called Ruby Chow's. Isn't that cool? And for soundproofing, she had egg cartons glued all over the ceiling. And you're a kid, you know, you can be totally entertained by the whole evening just looking at all the eggshell cartons, thinking that's the strangest thing you've ever seen in your life, because most people just throw those out. You know what I mean?
Well, the little things that excite us, huh?
Yeah. Now I'm going to do something even more radical. I'm going to take a little piece of artist tape here, come right next to this.
Oh, that's just crazy talk.
I know. And then I know I want this to be down sort of here at an angle like this. This has got an angle down like that, right? So now I'm going to just, using that same there, just come across away from the, and now it might be easier just tilt it like that. To me, it's a little easier to just tilt it like this, like that, and just say that there's our, remember it's starting here at an angle and just getting kind of narrower down toward the bottom like that, okay? Now, as long as I'm doing that, let's take a little bit of red and blue and make a little brown color. Remember how we did that? And then here's our mast right up here like this. So I got it pretty straight. Like that.
Ooh,
That's
that's
cool,
impressive.
right? Then I'm going to take that same color and then that same thing, and I'm going to do a little thing here like that. And here's the boom. Okay. All right. So far, so good. Now we're going to take rinse the brush now. And I think I'll take a small brush and some white paint. Now we're going to get into a little tiny bit of white paint. Our boat's kind of white, and we're going to come under here like this and just paint the boat in. It's a little, just it's almost like a V back here, like that. Here's this little V thing that kind of wrapping around like this. And then a little bit of blue, and we're going to curve the nose of the boat like that. We're going to curve it like that. And let's see, I've got it curved. And then I want a little bit of red here. I want some red above it like this. Just kind of like so. There we go. And the little red in the reflection. Then I'm going to take some dark blue and red and make a really dark color. I'm going to come underneath here like that and suggest, I don't want to put any people in the boat, but he had some, but this is small, man. We gotta, here, now I'm going to put my boat back in again here like that, because I lost a little boat here with all of that. Okay, like that. There's our little boat. And let's see, here's a little red flag, like this, coming off of here like that. Okay, here's our sail. Now, what you do, you're going, yeah, okay, so you saw how that is, but I think I need my sail a little bit wider, okay, my reflection, right, a little bit wider on the reflection. Okay, so we're going to just start over here with a new color. Okay, want that sort of off-white color for the boat. Now we're going to come out like, let's see, put a little more color in the sail like that, and now we're going to come out here in front and
put the ripples in.
Like that. A little bit more ripples in it, and then I will put some blue across it. But as long as I've got that color, I think that's the only color in there. I'm going to use that kind of on this side of the boat. We're going to just say that this is a little darker right here, that side with a little bit of the yellow there. Okay, so there's our little boat. Now what you got to do is we got to take the background color, right? Now break apart this reflection like that. See what we?
No, I like that. Yeah.
See, you could kind of break, and we're going to break apart some of these too. And this is just our background color. Oops, that wasn't it. We lost our background color.
Rhonda would like to know, Ginger, did you go boating with your parents when you were younger?
Did I go boating? That's a good question. Yeah, I did go boating with my parents when we were younger. My dad, we did. My dad was a judge, and he always wanted a boat because his friends, they'd go out in the summer with their friends who had boats. And I think he just something, grew up in, where did we get all these colors from? I don't even know. From my finger, I think. All right, moving that. Anyway, so we did, gonna break this up here like that. Cross some of these like this. He bought this boat. And mostly, my parents sent me to summer camp every summer, so I never saw him, okay? But basically, at some point, we're going to now put the landmass back there. They bought this boat, and they invited me for like one week maybe. I got to be on the boat. I got to do it one time. Dad sold it the next year. He sold it the next year. He discovered
he wasn't going to do it.
He was always, all I remember him saying was he was down there pumping the bilge all winter long because the thing was leaking because he couldn't buy a new one, right? But it wasn't that fancy a boat, but you could cook on it and eat it, and it had a dinghy and stuff. So the story goes, I was on this silly boat, and as we're talking, I'll keep painting. I was on this boat, and I'm going to show you a little trick by doing this. This is a white paint pen by Posca, P-O-S.
Japanese company.
C-O-S-C-A, Posca. Now, this is a white fine point pen, okay? And we're going to shake it like this. Incidentally, here's the note to self. When you are shaking a pen, please do not take the cap off. You're going to either throw paint across the room, or you're going to lose the tip. Are you talking from experience? Yes. I'm saving you. Okay, so now what you do is you just sort of touch it like that, make sure it's pumped, right? Now I'm going to just come under here like this with my white. Okay?
Let's zoom in, shall we?
Do you want to zoom in here?
I am.
So I'm going to just say that here's my...
Now, is this classified as cheating?
What, a pen? No, I don't think so.
Okay.
It's just white, and we're still using the same colors, right?
That's true.
We're just using the same colors here. So here's the white, and we're going to come around. This was very small to be, doing this, right?
Well, I'm sure his was a very big painting.
Yeah, and I'm doing a little one, so we're cheating, you bet. Right, okay, and then we didn't do anything with that one, but he did have a white line across here like this and went down a little bit like that, okay? And what else? Was there anything else here? The rest we have to do with them. Oh yeah, there was a line like that here, like that, something like that. Okay, so that's all we're doing with the pen. All right, and then we'll do the rest with the brush. So anyway, my parents have we were boating, and he was no good at. My father was a judge. He was no good at boating. He didn't know the first thing about it. So people get in trouble when they do stuff like this. So we got out into Puget Sound, and we're in the San Juan Islands, and we had anchored for the night. And we woke up, and we were stuck in. The tide had gone out like another 100 feet past us or something, and we were just sort of on the bottom of the ocean there with the boat. Couldn't go anywhere, and it was tilted to the side. Now it's listing, but all these clams were spurting up. Okay, these little clams, and I said, "Oh, let's go clamming." Let's go clamming. So they gave me a bucket and lowered me down the little ladder, right? And so then waiting for the tide to come in. Okay, so I'm clamming, and then after that, I don't know what they're doing, and then I came back with a whole bucket full of clams, and then we were still a little stuck. The water had come up a little closer by this time, so that our dinghy was floating.
Yeah.
But we still couldn't. We weren't good enough to go anywhere. So they said, "Well, why don't you take the dinghy and go sailing around?" Which delighted me, right? Oh, good, I'll do that. Okay. So now look, we got to wiggle some.
If you don't have one of those fancy pens, you just have to use one of your...
You're going to have to use a tiny brush and be careful, right? Sorry.
Yeah, that's probably one of those 000.
Yeah, 000 brush, and yeah, okay. So anyway, the here's like some sort of little thing here too, something that was here. Okay, like that. And so anyway, the upshot of it is that I got out there in the boat, okay, and I'm happily rowing around the Sound. It's a big place, and there's, it's a shore, getting pretty far away, and the current's kind of carrying me away better than I can row. It's taking me, the tides, somehow I got in some sort of current, and I'm getting farther and farther away from my parents. I'm in this boat. And
Are you panicking? Are you panicking yet?
Not yet, but then the oars broke.
Now you're panicking.
Now I'm panicking, and you could hear the echo, and they can't do anything about it. And they're getting farther and farther away, like little dots, and I'm sitting there, and I'm about 10 years old going, help, help. Okay, I'm going to just fix this boat right here. I need to curve this sail just slightly.
The wind is pushing it.
I need to have it just not quite so straight down like that. I'm going to curve it a little bit, see, better, right? So anyway, that was the... Now, we're going to just go over this a little bit with paint so it doesn't look so like that. See, we're going to
You're going to dull it down a little bit.
We just dulled it down a little bit. And let's take some more of this green now. Come up here by the dock, and using our small brush here, we're going to do some lighter green now. Start putting in more reflections. Aren't you guys kind of impressed with how fast this painting went together, really?
With just 3 colors.
Yeah, just 3 colors. I mean, I think we did pretty good, And again, might want to come out this way with a little green. I'm using just a little pointy brush now, just kind of bring this tree out a little bit. Kind of hanging out here like this. Here's our weeping willow tree coming down into the water. And then you want to come across this way with some green. Just start overlapping some stuff now, okay? And do we need anything else we need to overlap? Oh yeah, let's put a little shadow here, under here like that for our boat. Okay, like that. And let's see, what else? What else could I do? Well, probably get rid of that. I don't know what that is. Let's get rid of that. Those were fingerprints. If you heard of footprints, those are fingerprints. So anyway, there's some fisherman heard me and came and rescued. My parents were in kind of a panic too, because they realized they had really screwed up big time, right? Just
letting their 10-year-old daughter go have fun.
So I'm going to take a little green and bring it this way.
Well, we've had a good feed up until now. We're just starting to get a little buffering action. On my side, you guys may not experience because it's recovering fairly quickly, but we've gone an hour and 17 minutes.
I think that's pretty good for painting like this. Don't you think so, you guys?
Yeah. You still got the chimneys to go, right?
I said, yeah, we got the chimneys. Good point. I forgot the chimneys. Oh, yeah. So
well, it wasn't me that said that. That was Bonnie.
Yeah, all right. So let's put a chimney in here like that. Let's just take a little yellow and red, make a chimney. Little cad red medium, make a chimney like that. Little chimney. And let's put a couple here like that. Let's put one here like there. There you go, little chimneys. That looks cute. Now that's a little bright, so we'll put a little bit of blue with it. Just a tear.
I think I would almost be tempted to do this one bigger.
I think this would be very pretty bigger, and
Yeah,
it wouldn't be so fiddly, because it's hard to, put the little white trim around the, the windows and stuff when it's so, like for instance, I didn't do any here. I'll do one with a brush so you can see. Here's these little windows here like this, right? And I'm going to just do them with the brush. So you can do them with the brush. The pen was fun, but you can do them with the brush too, see? There you go, little windows like that. So, I mean, you absolutely can do them. And then you want to just, if you're doing that, then you want a little wiggly here like that. See, a little tiny bit of water. Let me move this where my stuff is. little tiny bit of water on the brush. This is where mixing white, which we didn't get out any, would have been good too. The reflections.
Would that have been a different color?
Well,
Probably
it's
not.
more. It's not really. I mean, we could have done mixing white for some of the
Gotten away with it.
Stuff, but you want a few little light things coming across here like that. Like back in here in the original, if you were to look this up, he had a few little boats back here. I didn't think it added anything to the picture, really.
Well,
for
especially
me.
the size. I mean, these just
Yeah,
little
you got
dots.
to see how small this is, right? And here's a little bit of dark. Here, I'm going to just come up
Ron
here
is
like.
saying there's white around the windows on the greenhouse.
Yeah, there is. I just did them. I just put it. Didn't you see, anybody else see me? I just put the white windows.
Well, I thought so.
I just did it, but that's probably the back feed. You know what I mean? There's probably a back feed here like that.
Yeah.
So let's just straighten that up here like that. Okay. Yeah, there's white around the windows here too. So again, we want to thank you guys for playing with us. If you've never had a chance to, visit our website, gingercooklive.gallery, I encourage you to do so now.
Well, not now. We're live.
We're live, but I mean, so at some point, look, I'm going to put a little bit of purple clouds back here. Kind of. Now I'm just kind of play with my sky a little bit.
Yeah, you had a little bit more clouds on the one you did first.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I did.
Okay.
And again, you're not going to get exactly the same thing each time, but see here. But I just did a little bit of the white and the blue and the cad red medium, and a little bit more red in the white. And see, I've got a little bit of purple clouds, and then I might want to, for instance, put some of that, color back here in the water too. See, sometimes it doesn't hurt to do something like that. See, you bring it back over and then just sort of make it flat. Again, wherever you've got some blues here, if you want a little bit of lighter blue in here like that, that could be pretty. Across here like that. Just have a little fun with this. It does. Again, we're not. It's not like we're copying it exactly, but we're getting the sense of how he painted this and what might work for you. Here's a little bit of like orange down in here. Like I kind of like that for where that roof was. Now in his original painting, he had no orange here, but orange and turquoise are complements, and so I thought that the orange worked kind of well for that. I might want to darken this reflection up right here just a hair on this side to just make this side of the house look a little bit darker, just a tear. You can go back as you start to see your colors set. You can go back and see if you need to, make any changes like that, because that doesn't hurt either, right? Like that.
The original was done in 1871, 18 by 26.
All right, so this is a lot bigger, right, you guys? So I'm just saying.
A lot more real estate to play with than you did.
More room to play with. But I would say that's a good place to stop this. I hope you had fun painting with this. If you haven't had a chance to look at all our videos on YouTube, we've got some really good playlists, and we're interested from you. What would be a good way to help you guys find our videos? I mean, we have a flower playlist. Do you have any playlists you'd like to see? Do you have any pictures that you'd like us to paint?
Put them in the comments below.
Put them in the comments below.
Not now.
Monday, we're going to be
Afterward.
doing a palette knife abstract.
Oh, look at that. Is that gorgeous?
That's,
I love that
That's Mondays. And then Tuesday, for our live show, we're doing, Tuesday for our live show. This is our live show for Tuesday. This is another one of our old dead artists and their flowers. And I really liked it. This is a background. I wouldn't think to use it in a million years, but I kind of liked it. And so we'll talk about that. We like to go back to the masters and do that. And again, our Thursday release for our Ginger Cook Live Academy of Fine Art will be this window one with the flowers. So I know a lot of you guys like that stuff. And let's see.
These fine paintings.
Where's the here? At this point I didn't get that sign that other one, but I would just sign that right like this, and we'll just call it a fun painting.
It's a fun painting.
I think it was fun. Did you guys have fun painting? And and I think you can. Again, I would encourage you to even look at the original if you wanted to. and see if any more details you wanted to add. But
Especially if you do a bigger one.
if you do a bigger, but I don't think that it made any difference to do these little boats because they were really vague. And this is, it was Impressionism at its best here. There's a little bit of red slash through my name, and there we go. Boats, Houses on the River was the title of this, and
Well,
I think we've got it, and we appreciate it. I think that's pretty good to do that in an hour and a half, and I hope you enjoyed Angela Anderson's Rooster, and
yep.
if you haven't seen that, going to suggest you can find this. We'll have an iCard in our on our video to find both.
And they're also in the description.
And they're in the description.
Both
you just
her
hit
and Cinnamon,
both
the
in
Art
Cinnamon, the Art Sherpa's wave. And again, this is our 3-color challenge. It's hard to believe we did all of that with just Cad Red Medium, Cad Yellow Medium, Phthalo Blue, green shade if it's Liquitex, and white. We made all these colors and created that, and I think that that's really kind of cool. So hope you enjoyed it.
We are normally on Monday and Tuesday, 7:30 Central Time, p.m.
Yeah, that's when we're at, all right? So come back up to me real quick so I can say goodbye.
Yeah, I'm trying to find where you are here.
Can you find me?
I
You
got
wanna
you.
Come back up for me. So thank
Yep,
you
there you
guys. This was fun, and Sammy has a few thank yous to say too. So we'll say Sammy, thank you, and again,
If you haven't subscribed, please do so now.
and share these videos with people. That helps everyone find us in the search engines. It helps us get out. So if you want to help us and you say, God, I really love those guys, what could I do? Roses are good. You can always send flowers, but I'm saying just a fast thing is share the videos.
Share the videos with all
Share
your
the videos.
families and friends and everybody else.
Yeah, thanks. Good night. Good afternoon. Bye.
Bye.
Say goodbye, Sammy.
Oh, Sammy. Sammy says, have you visited gingercooklive.gallery? You might want to make a note of that. Thank you, Sammy, for the fine words of wisdom.
Bye. Good night, John.
Good night, Ginger.
Night, Sammy.